Hi there. Even a man who's pure at heart and says his prayers by night can become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. Infamous words spoken, a warning in the movie The Wolfman, which was a classic werewolf film. Not the first werewolf film. Actually, the first werewolf film was on way back in like 1913. But the first one that I guess most people remember. Hey, Danuch, welcome, dude. We are talking werewolves tonight. So think of your favorite werewolf film, because I decided to watch a different werewolf film. I watched one that most people don't really look at. Hey, Mark, Werewolf Night. How? Werewolf in London. The Beast Must Die. Hey, Cinema Dave. Hey, Joey. And The Beast Must Die is an amicus film. Now, it has a bit of a neat little history. It actually stars Calvin Lockhart. It's got a great cast. So, I mean, Calvin Lockhart, Peter Cushing, Anton Diffring, Charles Gray, Michael Gambon. Yes, we got good old like Dumbledore in this film here. Marlene Clark from Ganja and Hess, of course, is in this film as well. Directed by Paul Annette, who did like a lot of different stuff, like movies and TV. Did EastEnders, if you're a fan of the things that they do for that. But what's really cool about this film, what it's probably known for, is something that was never supposed to be included in the film, and that's called the werewolf break. So this movie starts with an ominous, hey Mug, welcome, with an ominous message. I'll get to that actually. And it basically says, in this movie, you are the detective. Hey Rich, there will be a werewolf break, at which time we will give you 30 seconds for you to make your decision on who you think is the werewolf. So, Amicus made this film. They gave it to I was actually, Rich, just looking at that sale for my better half just before we came downstairs. Before I came downstairs. Hey, Caliber. Welcome, dude. We are talking werewolves tonight. So this movie, see this here, a werewolf-looking creature? You're not going to see this in the film. Like, forget that. Get that out of your mind completely. Do you think? Hey, George, have you seen this film? So, who has seen The Beast Must Die? Hey, Kathy, welcome. You came to a live one, and it's a werewolf one. Actually, I'm going to talk about the Severin titles as well later on. That'll we'll talk about. So, great film, fantastic cast. The werewolf, and Danush can vouch for this one. Pretty bad. Pretty much what they did is, it looks like they took a dog and put like a kind of a free lion's mane type of thing on him. It's pretty hilarious actually. But the film itself is actually really cool. This film actually kind of runs into blaxploitation territory, which is really different because it wasn't written as a blaxploitation film. Actually, it was only like later in the casting production that they actually got Calvin Lockhart and decided to cash in on the going trend at the time, which was blaxploitation. They had a ton of people here. They did their own version of the famous Agatha Christie film. Hey, Kathy, and then there were none, because that's what it is. A bunch of people are brought to this basically this island or something, but to this like secluded area where the guy says, and he's really rich, he's a hunter, that type of guy, and he says, every one of you has the potential to be a werewolf. And I know that at least one of you here is a werewolf. And the rest of the film is werewolf. He puts wolfsbane. They're all like, well, wolfsbane's not here, so we don't have to worry. So he goes to his greenhouse because he's a sucker for punishment and killing off his friends, and he brings out wolfsbane. I'm not joking. He does. He brings, oh, look, I got some wolfsbane here. Ha ha. So now the werewolf will have to turn into a werewolf over the next 3 days, because 3 days, we're going to have 3 days of full moon. Did you like this one, Kathy? And even right before the wolfsbane is brought out, they have them like pass around a silver candlestick, like, holding silver just automatically is going to make you like burst out in werewolfness. Doesn't work that way. But the werewolf eventually comes, and there's a chase over 3 nights. With those 3 nights are clues for you to discover who is the werewolf. Kino just bought. Oh, you just bought Rawhead Rex from Kino? Great edition. I love Rawhead Rex. I love my Kino edition of Rawhead Rex. It's fantastic. It's got like a booklet. It's got a slip cover. It's really neat. I'm not going to say on here because I do kind of want you to go back and, if you haven't seen it in a while, like, check it out. It had been a long time since I'd seen it. It would have been like VHS days. So when I turned this on, this is from the Severin pack. In case you, Severin put out this Amicus collection a while back, and it had Asylum, and Now the Screaming Starts, The Beast Must Die, and it had a 4th disc called The Vault of Amicus, which is a bunch of, like, it's a trailer tape and like 4 hour like long interview. But kind of, I guess. The cool thing about this one right here is if you go on Severin's website, you're not going to see this. Because when this collection came out, Severin put this out, and this movie was exclusive to the collection. If you notice with Severin's box sets, they always have one film that's exclusive to that collection. The Blood Island trilogy, the other one that I'm going to do, the Filipino, like, the Hemisphere horror set. There's at least one movie or two, that's like kind of exclusive to that collection. Now you can buy this on its own. That you just won't get like this edition of it. There is a really good like little kind of audio essay with Troy Haworth on here as well. We say audio essay, but really it's a visual essay is what it is. Basically, with Troy Haworth like talking over it. There's an audio commentary with the director on here, and there's actually an interview with the director as well, which is actually really good. The interview is actually really interesting too. If you can grab this edition of it, by the way, I would strongly suggest picking it up. Really cool edition. This was a great box set overall, by the way. I'm not talking amicus today. I'm pretty much talking werewolf, so I can do like short amicus talk afterwards. But no, like this is one to grab, man. This is a great set. Favorite werewolf film? I was asked that. That's hard. I mean, I grew up loving, like, werewolves are one of the monsters I truly adore. From the Wolfman to the John G. York, Chuck Connors TV series Werewolf. There's so much. I mean, I even like some of those werewolf movies that not a lot of people like or they talk about. And one of those is, well, Legend of the Werewolf, which unfortunately does not have a Blu-ray release. And as far as I can tell, I don't even think it has a DVD release. It has Peter Cushing in it. It was done in England. It was done like a little bit after Curse of the Werewolf. I really dug it. It's one of the ones I used to watch and rent over on VHS back in the day over and over again. But my favorite one... Wolf God. Oh, nice. I like Shani Chiba. That's an easy question for you, Jim. American Werewolf in London. See, I'm going back and forth. Is it American Werewolf in London? Is it The Howling? And I got to go with The Howling. And I will tell you why. Because Wolfen's a fantastic film, and it's highly underrated. Albert Finney's great in that. And Gregor Hines, too. Gregor Hines is the mortician guy, right? Curse of the Werewolf. One of the best werewolf designs ever was Ulrich, and he was a big, barrel of a man to do it. So great choice for that one. The Howling over American Werewolf in London for me, although I love both films, The Howling, it looks more like a werewolf as in the way that I want a werewolf to look. It is much more of the classic Wolfmanish style Paul Nashi-ish werewolf. And wow, Paul Nashi, that's opening up another whole can of worms, isn't it? Because Curse of the Devil, the War of Shadow, classic stuff. We're both in that minority then, because I also love the Howling sequels. Let's talk about them. But I'm going to go with the Howling because I like, I love the cast for the Howling. I love the way that the Werewolf was designed. And I was actually reading, what's my favorite Hammer? Well, since Hammer and Amicus, oh, what's my favorite Hammer title and my favorite Amicus title? Because they're like competing companies, sort of. But Hammer, I'll do that on a Hammer day, I think. Just to say. But for Amicus, it's I don't know. I mean, Dr. Terror's House of Horrors probably. If I really had to think. Like I haven't seen Psychopath in a while. That's like an actual that was good too. But Dr. Terror's House of Horrors stands out. But there's so many. There's so much good Amicus. I'll do like a whole Amicus episode soon, actually. Actually, Andrew, I started the video saying that. So great minds. All right. So the Howling films. I broke down the Scream films last night. So let's do a quicker breakdown of the Howling films. Let's do that. The Howling original is a classic. Love it. It's an excellent, excellent film. So Howling 2, it's a bit of a dumpster fire, but it's a fun dumpster fire. And it's got Sybil Danning, and it's got Christopher Lee in glasses that Christopher Lee should never wear. I love the American Werewolf in London, by the way. I don't like American Werewolf in Paris, though. Howling 3. Now, this is where we get into this. Howling 3, The Marsupials, is a misunderstood one in the franchise. People look at Howling 3 and they say, the first two are kind of fun, and like the first one's like kind of scarier, the second one's kind of cheesy fun, but the third one, it's so different, it's so weird, so like, what was he doing? Well, he was making a satirical film. There's a lot of humor. Wolf Cop, I'll get to those as well. I love those films. I haven't seen the second one though. The Marsupials is like, and it is like Australian like style humor. But any Australians on here? And I think that may work better if you've seen a lot of Australian films. If you've seen a lot of exploitation, Marsupials, where Howling 3 is going to work a lot better for you than if you just go in as a regular like Howling sequel. It's not going to work as well on that level. But I think that it works good on as an exploitation kind of comedy werewolf film. Howling 4, the beginning or the new beginning or something like that. It was called something similar to that. Starting over. So Howling 4 is the closest to the books that any of the Howling films ever got. Ooh, good films. Cursed. I like Curse. Curse gets a bad rap. It really does. Dog Soldiers, hell yeah. Sean Pertwee, man. Howling 4, I like. It is super close to the novels. I've read the Howling novels. I was a big fan of them. They're like super cheesy and exploitive, but I actually like the novels. Werewolf, Benicio del Toro. Well, and don't forget Wolf with Jack Nicholson. Now, Howling 5. This is considered the Howling movie without a werewolf. Why? Because they lost most of the werewolf costume throughout the film. Ginger Snaps is one of the greatest. And Christopher Stone, good, maybe. All they had base was an arm. They had an arm. They had a werewolf arm. So in this movie, it's a mystery, much like The Beast Must Die. Hey, Tommy. Actually, Canada has a really big horror scene. I will get into that sometime, Andrew. Exploitation is probably something that I know the most about. Not only am I Canadian, I was going to write a book on it. But where's that? The fifth one. Yes, it's a werewolf mystery, much like The Beast Must Die, and where you have to guess who the werewolf is. It's set at a castle in like I think Romania, and it's a fun little film. Freaks is really cool. Freaks is different. See, Canada, Trump, other countries when it comes to horror films. We also got Things, which is also another horrible horror film. But you realize that we're proud of the really bad horror stuff because we also got like David Cronenberg, and yeah, we're good. We're good. Uh, Vampires versus Werewolves, basically in Freaks. That's a really good one. Bruce Payne is in that one. Does a good job. Yes, damn straight. Final Sacrifice. Also a really good Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. You're going to lose to me when it comes to exploitation because that's my thing. I just got to say Black Christmas, and that just doesn't. Actually, there was a list of kinos that were going out of print. I'm going to be looking over the kino sale again tomorrow. It's going on till I think the 28th or something like that, or the 20 something. So I will be looking at that. I got the Mon Macabre sales coming up. I'm going to be looking at the Kino out of print sale. I'm going to be looking at what's going out of print with Kino. They did like a list of ones that are going out of print, and there's more. Both Scream Factory and Kino right now got a bunch of stuff that's going out of print. Night Stalker. I love Night Stalker. Oh, and Howling 7, which is crap. It is crap. It is fun crap. It is cheesy crap. AME, I love Bad Moon, but it is super fun crap. And Andrew, I'm joking. We can have fun. And of course, then there's Howling Reborn, which is also pretty crappy. It's like the it's like, what do you call it? Twilight. It's like Twilight. I saw a lot. My better half saw a few too, actually. Teen Wolf. Well, you got Teen Wolf. You got Teen Wolf 2. I'm trying to think of what Ginger Snaps and Ginger Snaps 2, really good films. Canadian, Ginger Snaps 3, yeah, it's okay. Not my favorite. My least favorite, and it's a decent film. It's just out of the Ginger Snaps series, like Ginger Snaps 3, that's my least favorite. I like Ginger Snaps 1. I think that's a brilliant film. Ginger Snaps 2, there's a really good twist in it. I love Asylum films. I'm really like, not Asylum. Well, I do like films that are made by Asylum, but films like they're set in an asylum, especially horror films that are set in an asylum. I find they work really well for me. I like those a lot. But that Ginger Snaps 2 is set in an asylum, and excellent. I don't know if I've seen that one, Amy. I'm not quite sure, but now I do want to see it because I like our werewolf films. Even the really bad ones. And there are some really bad ones. Somebody mentioned Mystery Science Theater 3001, and that's probably the Werewolf, which was kind of like a way like to do a scientific werewolf film. And I think Sam Katzman, if I'm correct, did that film. The same guy that did like The Giant Claw, like films like that. I think it's on a set that a Sam Katzman set was put out, and it's got like, if you've never seen The Giant Claw, it's a movie about this giant creature that was beaten with the ugly stick. Werewolf Samurai. No, I haven't seen that. No, I do have to see that then, because that sounds cool. I would love a Werewolf Samurai film. Ooh, there also was, what was that like biker movie? Werewolves on Wheels. Remember that one? And coming out by Severin, an uncut edition of Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory, which I used to think was an American film for some reason. I don't know why, because it's totally not. And if you look at it, it really doesn't look like one. Right, now we're going to die, baby. We're going to crash and burn. Werewolf on Wheels is classic. Classic stuff, I tell you. Rob Zombie sound. Or Rob Zombie. Your daughter says, I will say hi to her back. We'll try to keep it like super PG for her. Because I want everybody to be able to watch these videos. Oh, speaking of younger audience. So, back in the day, there were like the Goosebumps and the Are You Afraid of the Darks and the Eerie Indianas and stuff like that. Can anybody think of like a member Werewolf episode out of one of those? I was actually thinking about that. I was trying to remember if Are You Afraid that I'm Canadian, so Are You Afraid of the Dark was kind of my jam, right? But I couldn't remember that if Are You Afraid of the Dark did a Werewolf episode. It probably did, and I don't remember it. I remember that the original It, the miniseries It, actually uses a werewolf in that, like which was taken out of the new one, by the way. But in the book It, I know Goosebumps had a werewolf. Yeah, they did. I can't remember the episode though. But in the book It, there was one of the kids was scared was scared of werewolves because he saw like I was a teenage werewolf, the Michael Landon film, and so that he sees like Wolfman has an ours. He sees the wolf chasing after him. Tale of the Full Moon. I knew there was something like that. Thank you, Joey. Of course, that what Warlock just said is from the movie Monster Squad, which is it's kind of a cool one. So if you got a younger member of your family, like maybe a tween or early teen, Monster Squad is a really good film to introduce them to. If you want to show them the classic stuff like that. I'm pretty sure the Tales from the Crypt did. I just can't remember which one it is yet. In a way, I guess Lower Birth really was one. And it wasn't a werewolf episode, but Lower Birth is the origin, the Crypt Keeper, pretty much. And I think his father was like a werewolf or vampire or something like that. And his mother was something else. So it was in that kind of beastly way. Did they do just the werewolf? See, I haven't seen that one yet. Damn. Though I have to say, I didn't totally understand the ending of Grey Matter, the first episode of Creepshow, until I was recently rereading. I was rereading Night Shift, the Stephen King short story book, which a lot of movies came from, by the way, and Grey Matter was from that book. And yeah, the ending made sense. They changed a few things though. The We're from Waxworks, that is great. Waxworks is an excellent film, and one that I really should highlight on my channel at some point. Damn, that's a good. I should have watched that one. That's a really good film, because that has a little bit of everything. You get attacking the train. Does anybody know what that movie is? Because I cannot think of it right now. Did Love, Death, and Robots do one? I missed that episode then. Howl, okay. Howl's with the train there. So you guys know. So you guys are the experts when it comes to this stuff. There's so many cool In the Company of Wolves. Is In the Company of Wolves worth buying? I liked it. It's got Angela Lansbury, which is kind of like a go-to for me right away. I mean, Angela Lansbury, I'm a big Murder, She Wrote fan. But In the Company of Wolves is very stylistic, and it's a beautiful looking film. What do I think of Dog? I love Dog Soldiers. I thought Dog Soldiers was excellent. It kind of gave me, there's a movie called Scarecrows back in the day. Children of the Full Moon, actually. I think that's where Peter Cushing came back to Hammer for that episode. Brother of the Wolf, again. Does that have Monica Bellucci? Underworld, not so much. Now, see, I'm not a huge Scott Speedman fan, and that kind of distracted for me from Underworld. And this is for the stupidest reason, but I used to watch a show called Felicity, and yeah, that's the one with John J. York and Chuck Connors. And Scott Speedman was on the show Felicity, and that was kind of the guy that she liked. But there's a guy that liked her called by the name of Scott Foley, is the actor's name, and he was like Roman in Scream 3, which I talked about yesterday. And I thought I liked the Scott Foley character, so I kind of hated the Scott Speedman character. So it took a while for me to actually take him away from his character on that show. That's so dumb, but it's true. Well, Twilight. Twilight has its audience. I'm not its audience. It's for. I think it's primarily for a younger audience or for people that are into that type of film. I would suggest if you're a younger person, that definitely you don't need to read Twilight. There's better books for you. Big Bad Wolf. I haven't seen that one. I got to see that one. That's one that passed me by, and I've had it in my hands and everything. I was going to pick it up. Something like that, yeah. Late Phases Jimbo is an excellent werewolf film, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Don't Google it. Don't look up the plot or anything like that. Just go check it out. Because Late Phases is one of the best werewolf films made in the last 15 years. Hands down. I'm like, no hyperbole. Late Phases, it's really that good. It's a really good film. Lost Teenage Werewolf is a really fun one. Unfortunately, Joey, that one is not available to get on Blu-ray or DVD, as far as I know. Actually, I did. I remember the day that the Werewolf TV show started. Actually, they showed it not once. They showed it like 3 or 4 times in a row. And they showed, what's the other one on that around that time? I think 20 Jump Street 2 was around that period. But yeah, I remember watching it. John G. York. I watched it right through to the end of the series. Well, till the end until they canceled it. Chuck Connors was like the big werewolf guy, the one that he was chasing. After, I definitely recommend Late Phases. Definitely pick it up, like 100%. Like it's a solid. It's a solidly great film. It's a great film, and it's truly surprised me. I did not expect it to be as good as it was. I picked it up once. Didn't know anything about it. It was inexpensive at my local Walmart. I grabbed it, I turned it on, put it in my machine, sat down, and I was like, good enough that I better have. Yep, the Rifleman Chuck Connors. Now, about partial way through the series of Werewolf, the '87 series, Chuck Connors leaves the show. There's a dispute behind the scenes. Chuck Connors leaves the show, so they continue the show without Chuck Connors' character, and they kind of introduce another character into the series. It's been a long time since I've seen it because this isn't something that's readily available. I think you can get like bootlegs or something of it. Teen Wolf is a fun beginner werewolf film for kids, but so it's like I was a teenage werewolf. I think maybe even a little bit more so. But Teen Wolf is more of like a unique comedy one. Teen Wolf 2, you can watch it, but it's not the greatest. I used to like the Teen Wolf cartoon series. I'm not gonna lie, actually, I'm a huge cartoon fan, so that was kind of cool as well. But there are so many great werewolf films that are out there. I mean, I'm just like scratching the surface, basically, of the awesomeness that is the werewolf film genre. See, here in Canada, we did not get Dog Soldiers, the Scream Factory edition. That was only, Warlock can tell you about that, that was a US release. So you would have to go kind of trying to circumvent it. Yes, Hammer did one werewolf film called Curse the Werewolf, and it stars Oliver Reed, who was obviously a big guy. What's kind of comical is if you look at the promotional artwork for like photos for Curse the Werewolf, it shows Oliver Reed in full werewolf costume, which looks really, really good, by the way. And he's holding this girl in his arms. A girl that Oliver Reed's character and werewolf in the film could not possibly ever hold. Why? Because the girl that he's holding in his arms is his mother in the film. That was just like publicity shot. Oh, you're so lucky, dude. That's Sean Pertwee. He was on Gotham as Alfred, as like a badass Alfred. But yeah, where the Curse of Werewolf, it's a slower moving one, and the werewolf scenes come later in the film. But I found it a really good film. I really liked it. Oliver Reed was a perfect like tortured antagonist. Actually, Kathy mentioned the curse actually early on. I think, didn't you? The curse, curse is called right. Werewolf is it? It's called cursed because the curse is a very different thing altogether. But getting into snake territory. But Curse is actually a fun little film that starred a young, what was his name? Not Michael Cera, but the other guy. You know the guy I'm talking about, right? And of course, Pacey from Dawson's Creek. I know he was in like his sci-fi show, but he's Pacey to me. Uh, yeah, I really dug that. I thought Curse was fun. I actually thought it was a lot of fun. Christina Ricci, oh, I kind of forget her. She's gorgeous. Read this like Van Helsing? See, my better half actually kind of liked it because of that. But she's a huge fan of Hugh Jackman. Cat People, definitely. And I really, even Leopard Man, you can kind of think of it. I actually like the cartoonishness of Van Helsing. Now, that being said, when I saw Van Helsing the first time, I truly hated the film and ended up liking it, getting kind of getting a feel for its campiness later on, and that kind of became like my reason for liking it afterwards. Cat People, I love both versions of Cat People. I have a really big, I love Natasha Kinski, and I like Annette. So yes, yeah, I totally loved love Cat People. I think I missed one here. The original Wolfman. Well, and even earlier than the original Wolfman too. We got the one with the guy from like the Charlie Chan films. So that's pre-Wolfman. There was of course Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, which is it's just one of those fun. Much better than Freddy versus Jason. Just saying, my opinion. It's a much better film. There is of course the Abnett Stella meet Frankenstein, which we get to see the Wolfman. We get that like classic line where Lawrence Talbot, "We're for London." That's what I'm thinking of. See, Danuch, I couldn't remember the name. You could, so I was trying to like circumvent it. Thanks for catching me on that. And that is awesome idea. I might do that actually. Where Lawrence Talbot basically says, I said every night when the moon comes out, I turn to a wolf. Like don't you and every other guy. You've never seen The Howling? It's different. John Landis's American Werewolf London is a tortured kind of classic comedy horror film. It's a great amalgamation that gets every bit of it right. It shouldn't work, but it does. It's got great effects. It's got a fantastic cast with Jenny Agutter, David Naughton, and Griffin Dunn, and it is an exquisite film. Joe Dante's The Howling is a different kind of like, I don't want to say dirtier, but like kind of not. I don't mean dirtier as like that type of way, but kind of like different, kind of like a scarier type. The Rob Zombie, right? Or it's a scarier type of film. The Howling was meant to be scarier. That's what it was going for. The Robert Picardo actually would later go on for fame in Star Trek, playing the Doctor character in a couple of Star Trek shows. Well, he's actually he's barely recognizable, but he actually plays a killer werewolf in The Howling. If you're going to watch The Howling, you've never seen it, just keep an eye out for director cameos as well as hearing directors' names peppered throughout the film. Actually, there's one before that. On my latest Scary Monsters magazine, they mention a much earlier werewolf film that I would have to pick up. but it's not available. I think it's like it was done back in like 1913, somewhere like that. American Werewolf, yeah, that's the Bad Moon Rising one. It is good. There's like a weird scene in American Werewolf in London that seems kind of out of place, but it's a weird like nightmare scene with with werewolf Nazis. It's really strange, but it's great. I love them both. They're both classic films, and the fact that they came out in the same year, and they're so totally different films that you can't. I don't even see them as competing with one another. They're just two great films to put alongside one another, and it's a bonus that they came out at the same time. What are my thoughts on Jack Nicholson's Wolf? I actually liked it. Of course, it was a metaphor for but a lot of those films are. I guess my era, my yuppie era, right? But I liked Wolf. I'm a big James Spader fan, so I'm kind of biased that way as well. We never mentioned Silver Bullet, and Silver Bullet, damn good werewolf film. I love that film. Also, really good use of some incredible actors, like the Canadian actress Megan Follows, who was, would be famous for the Anne Green Gables films. If you haven't seen those, then shame on you. You at least, if you had kids, you should at least show them to them because they're really excellent films. And The Howling is ahead of its. They both really have its time. We got Corey Haim, who unfortunately has passed away. Silver Bullet actually was a Stephen King novella, originally titled Cycle of the Werewolf, and I think it was like a calendar type thing. It was like, but it had some great like art in it because there was like some drawings in Cycle of the Werewolf, in its original edition anyway. I used to own it at one point. I don't anymore. And of course Gary Busey is incredible. Yeah, Brittany Wrightson, exactly, is amazing in Silver Bullet because he's kind of the cool uncle. Gary Busey is always going to be the cool uncle. Bernie Wrightson is one of my favorite artists. I love his stuff on Swamp Thing. I like he's when it comes to horror artists, Bernie Wrightson, Graham Ingalls, guys like that, kind of stand kind of stand out and stand the test of time, no matter what comes out. Kelly Jones, not so much, because Kelly Jones, screw your Batman. Sorry, the little. Well, Silver Bullet had a made for TV. You really think so? See, I don't think so. I mean, nowadays I could see it. Maybe when you put it up against stuff like that's out there now. But as for back then, no. Back then it did feel like a feature film. It's just when you compare it to newer stuff. So I don't. Only time, Joey, that I can actually stand Kelly Jones's Batman is in the vampire films. I also regret never meeting Bernie Wrightson, but I unfortunately never had the chance to. That's like I had the chance to meet Ray Harryhausen once, and I messed up on it. It does have its fans, Andrew. You'd be surprised. I'm not one of them, to be honest with you, but it does have its fans. I'm sure if Scream Factor Arrow ever puts out American Werewolf in Paris, you are going to see a bunch of people, if they weren't fans of American Werewolf in Paris, come out and say, I always thought American Werewolf in Paris was an underrated film. It shall happen. It always, always does. Because you're always going to find the fans when they put a big release out. That's a deep cut, Warlock. I actually forgot about that. I'm actually a huge fan, Carlito, of the Benicio del Toro Wolfman, because I think not only does it harken back to the older stuff, but it kind of draws from the Paul Naschy, like Wolfman as well. And by the way, if you've not seen the Paul Naschy Wolfman films, definitely check them out. No, going in, this isn't like your Universal stuff. It's going to be bloody. There's going to be like a lot of nudity, a lot of nude females in it because it's Paul Naschy. But he does some really cool werewolf films. And his werewolf is a character that kind of like goes on from film to film. It's the same werewolf. And I really enjoy them. I really enjoy Paul Naschy's werewolf films. Werewolf and the Yetis is actually a really good one. Why not Trauma? I like Trauma. Did somebody mention a trauma film and get past, and I didn't hear it? I actually met Lloyd Kaufman. He's a really nice guy, actually. Return to Kumai Volume 2 is released. All right. I was When I went to Montreal Comic Con one year, like Trauma had a table there, and I spent like half my time there, talking to the guys over at the table, buying way too many movies, and talking to Lloyd Kaufman. My better have actually had a really good conversation with Lloyd Kaufman about his daughter. Uh, he's a proud dad. Help with the Underworld franchise. I went to the theater to see the first one. I was meh on it. I did like the girl, Kate Beckinsale. No, seriously. Like, I was ready to talk all geek stuff with Lloyd Kaufman, because I'm a geek, a horror geek. And he was like talking about my better half, she speaks like a lot of different languages. She's traveled a lot. So does his daughter. And smart girl. And apparently she was over like in some other country. So him and my better half had like a nice sized conversation on that actually. Kate Beckinsale's the best part of Underworld. I'm not gonna lie there. She really really is. Then there was I saw the first Underworld and the one that didn't have Scott Speedman in it, and I actually liked the one that he was in, which most people hated it. But I thought that was cool. I went and saw it. It was in 3D. It was fun. We went to the theater. The movie that we wanted to see wasn't available, so I went and saw the Underworld 3D movie instead. It was fun. I'd probably like them more now if I went back and watched them now, because they're just this mind candy. I don't think I've seen that one, Danuch. Career the Underworld started as a werewolf. Did it really? I thought it was neat. I was reading an early interview with John Landis, right? And John Landis was asked, "Hey, Dungeon, welcome." He has actually it is an earlier night. Was when he thought up the idea for American Werewolf in London. And he said, "Well, I was in Italy and I was working as a stuntman on a spaghetti western." And I was like, "Oh, John Landis was a stuntman at one point? I did not know this." What's the angry face for? Trauma? Oh no, I got that was a joke. I just thought it was an interesting story to tell, a bit like Hoffman. I don't know. I mean, I had no idea. PlayStation. See, I was reading. Oh God, it was. I think it was the one with Friday the 13th Part 2 on the cover. It was the one with Dragon Slayer on the cover. One of those two. And John Lance is being interviewed on it. And in that interview, like this is when American Werewolf in London was coming out. This was before it came out. And he's talking about it. And they asked him, he said, "Well, when did you get the idea for American Werewolf in London?" He said, "Well, when I initially wrote it was back in the late 60s when I was working as a stuntman in Italy on a spaghetti western." And I was like, this is information. And I am a wealth of useless information, which is truly useless information, which only gets used on here, because in reality, like my real life, nobody comes up to me and says, "So, tell me, John Landis, was he a stuntman?" But I don't know. Maybe if I got on a quiz show, one of those, like maybe Beat the Geek came back. Ooh, I watched Freaks, didn't you? Like part 6 of Howling, and see what you think then. There are so many good werewolf films and werewolf like TV shows and episodes. Vampires too. I mean, like I'll do a vampire episode as well. I don't know if I get one done. I'll try to get one up for Halloween. I'm gonna do a Hammer one. Maybe I'll combine the Hammer vampire one together. Was that Landis? It probably was actually. Landis did a lot of stuff. There's, there's a really good episode. I'm not sure who anybody here watches. I'm sure somebody mentioned it actually. Um, what's it called again? The comedy show with the vampires living together. We in the shadows, something like I can't. Anyway, it's gotten in my mind. But there's an episode where the werewolves, like, and we in the shadows or something like that, or no, some. Anyway, so the werewolves, so they accidentally cat like hurt a werewolf. What we do in the shadows. Thank you, cat lover. And it causes like a fight and a fight between the werewolves and the vampires. So what they have to do is you go onto a roof, and I'll let you, I don't care. I'll give this gag away. And this vampire has to fight this werewolf, and they bring in a ringer werewolf. It was like a huge dude. And so what they do, like, because the vampire looks like, holy crap, I'm going to get killed. He takes this squeaky bone, right? You know those like a dog has the squeaky bone. And he throws it off the roof, and the werewolf like dives after it, and splat, he's gone. It's a really good episode, and it's a really good scene. Even afterwards, when they're like, okay, I guess it's over, and they start to leave, and the werewolves like stop them for a second, and it's like, and they're like, hey, by the way, can we keep the bone? Like, yeah, fine, you keep it. I have seen The Boy Who Cried Werewolf. I have not seen the remake. I know they remade it a few years back. I didn't see that, but I did see the original, and I really liked it. That's the one where his father's a werewolf, right? I saw that when I was young. Not like 1973, I would have been 2, but I saw it came on TV a few times when I was like young. I think I rented it. I haven't seen it in years though, but I remember really liking it a lot. I would go out of my way to watch werewolf and vampire films when I was a kid. I think, a lot of kids do. Would go through the creature feature era in time. Frank sent me the Wolfman. Well, Frank, those are classics. And it's the classic Lon Chaney. Before, Lon Chaney, he had some issues, man. Sadly, had some issues. I think one of the witchcraft movies might have had a werewolf in it as well. Yeah, that's stretching though, like those witchcraft movies. Obviously classics. There's even like there's a Doctor Who episode near the end of the series called Survival, which deals with kind of like cat people. What are my thoughts on AEW? I'm loving it so far, Rich. I am utterly enthralled with their show, and it is for me, in my opinion, best wrestling show on TV right now is AEW. And it just keeps getting better. Like they're making mistakes, and and they look to be learning from them and upping their game every week. AEW, Andrew, is all elite wrestling. Remember WWE, but when it was good? Yeah. AEW is the good. It's more like if WCW in its best time combined with TNA in its best time. It's kind of like that. Bela Lugosi, actually, thank you, because Return of the Vampire. I was actually going to mention Hemlock Grove, I totally forgot it. So you're the first person, Mike. Bela Lugosi did a movie called Return of the Vampire, and in that, his assistant is a werewolf. It's a fun, cheesy little film. I think Scream Factory put that out recently. I'm pretty sure they did, right? Scream Factory put that out? I think so. I watched the first season of Hemlock Grove Warlock, but I haven't seen the rest of it. I think I watched like the first 2 episodes of the second season. I was on it. I was like, it's still good, but Hemlock Grove had the mystery of the werewolf, of who was the werewolf. I'm a big old school NWA fan, so I definitely will check it out, Dave, because I'm still like, long for the days of like really good wrestling. Did it really? I mean, like, yeah, that's the way it seemed like it was going. The first season I thought was brilliant. Of course, the guy went on to be like Pennywise in it, but in I thought the Werewolf mystery was really well done. And I won't give away the review for anybody that wants to go watch Hemlock Grove, because I do think the first season is definitely worth watching, and I think the Werewolf mystery is really good. I kind of remember the gates actually. Yeah, I do. Isn't that the same thing though? If you like Scream Factory and you like Shout, isn't that the same thing? It's like the same company, man. It's just a sub label. Pretty good. I mean, like, I can hear again now. I forgot to mention that to you guys. I went to the doctor. I can hear. That's always a plus with me. But I'm at the point where I just got my hearing back, and hey, Mr. Dark, I'm pretty. I can hear, so that's good. I have two ears, as I always did, but I couldn't hear this one. That movie is called Bad Moon, and it was really good. It's Michael Biehn in that one as the werewolf. Eddie Munster was a werewolf. You're correct. Not only that, he had a werewolf like stuffed werewolf doll that he carried with him. You're a grunge. Are you a '90s kid? Michael Pear. Thank you. I get them confused. It's the Michael part. They don't look anything alike, but yes. That was a great novel. I think Eric Red did Bad Moon. I'm like a punk guy myself, but I'm older, so he's dead now. Actually, the sumo guy. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. It's more of the good stuff. Yokozuna, I think, is what you're talking about. Paul Richard just mentioned Legend of the Werewolf, which I talked about earlier, and it's a favorite of mine. Bad Moon Rising. I think word already been used. That's what's the thing. Eight curved. Ah, Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp had a werewolf. Actually, yeah, it did. But the original Dark Shadows had a better werewolf, the TV series, and that was David Selby, who would later go on to be in Falcon Crest. He plays the werewolf, and that's a character called Quentin Collins. In the in the movie, I think it's Chloe Grace Moretz, right? That's the werewolf, which is a bit of a spoiler, but it's okay. Yep. David Selby, who played Quentin Collins, was the werewolf in the original Dark Shadows. And it played, like many people in Dark Shadows, he played different characters. And they do like, time forwards and time backwards and all this type of stuff. Company Willis. Well, actually, Mr. Dark, we mentioned that one earlier. Somebody asked me if it was worth checking out. I said it was. Do you agree? I actually thought I thought it was a fun film. It was more stylistic. Oh, Fright Night, of course. You're so cool, Brewster. And of course, Fright Night 2, which really deserves a one. Actually, no, Dan Curtis was American, but and the actor that played the vampire, Jonathan Frid, was Canadian. Still one of the and he was like he actually became a sex symbol, which people find odd when they actually see what Jonathan Frid kind of looks like. But back then, he was like it was a huge deal. Like there's a promotional scene where he goes to the White House. Even Jonathan Frid goes to the White House for Halloween, and it shows him like biting like I think Pat Nixon. So which was kind of cool. If you've never seen the Dark Shadows series, it really is worth like diving into some of them. There was a Canadian version of Dark Shadows actually, very lower budget type show because it's Canadian, but called and oh, God, what was that called? I just had it in my head. S- Strange. Oh, strange something. And it was like, I'm not sure if there's Werewolf or not. I don't know if they had the budget for that one. Groovy Ghoulies, Ghostbusters. Of course, Scooby Doo and those had the werewolf. Of course, there's Scooby Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, where Shaggy becomes a werewolf. All over. I mean, like, yeah, definitely in England, because vampires are kind of a big deal there. But also in in Canada, well, and America too. And back then, Canada was kind of like hemmed and hawed about their stars. They weren't, we didn't exactly. We were like Britain. We didn't make a big deal out of it. We had like a lot of big stars, but it was never a big deal. Like they could walk the streets, type of thing. Jonathan failed when he went to the U.S. Probably couldn't do that so much because he was a big star over there. My voice is going. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but my voice is going. It's a damn shame because I'm loving this video, and I love talking about Werewolves. The Werewolf TV series ever get a proper release? It is a great show. Kathy's probably writing that for a long time if it does. There is a lot, yeah, and Warlock's right there. Music rights issues is what's causing a problem with that. Larry says Frankenstein. Yeah, well, we did. A lot of people love that show. Being human, exactly. Top 5 werewolf films every horror fan should see. Howling, American Werewolf in London are going to be two of the big ones. Let's put Wolfman in there. Obviously, it's a classic. Ginger Snaps, 100% for sure. And Late Phases, one enough late phases for top 5. I could easily do a top 10. Wolfman Jack. I love Wolfman Jack. Wolfman Jack was my bag, man. He had his own TV show too. So before I'm miming or using semaphore to finish this video, I am Aaron. This is the Movie Library. You guys are the Movie Club. You guys rock. You made this video extra special and really, really good. We will pick up another werewolf video in the near future. We're also going to do a vampire one, and we'll get more into some monsters and creature feature stuff. The only Ginger Snaps collector release is probably the one that you got, that I got as well, which is the Alliance one that came out a few years back. I'm Aaron. My voice is gone. It truly is time for tea.